Hi, my name's Phillipa and I'm an adventure queen. I must be because the t-shirt says I am, but I don't think I'm probably what you expected. I'm a bit middle-aged, I'm a bit normal, I'm not sassy, don't look like an ultra runner, but I'm here to talk about through hiking. For people perhaps who've never done it, for those who perhaps think, oh, I couldn't do that. It's not that big a deal and it's wonderful. It can be life-changing. I did the Beacon's Way 2 years ago with the most amazing group of adventure queens. I loved it, and all of us since then have gone on to do more. So who am I and a little bit about me? I live in Monmouthshire. I was, when I was a child, wasn't particularly sporty, crap at catching stuff, was never any good at running, and I'm still not. But I love the outdoors. I didn't know how to get into it. I didn't have any friends who were doing it. So I suppose I was just sort of a bit of a frustrated walker. It wasn't until I was 28 that I met my partner who loves walking. We moved to the Brecon Beacons, and since then we've lived in the Brecon Beacons National Park. I've been up the mountains most weeks. I have a certain amount of confidence, but I think I would probably by myself stick to the path that I know, stick to the mountains I know, take the dogs with me. I used to see stuff about women doing through hikes, and I always wanted to do one, but I never had any friends who wanted to do it. The other half said no chance because there was no 5-star luxury hotel involved, and I thought it's just one of those things I wasn't going to get to do. I didn't have the confidence to do it by myself. Then 2.5 years ago, I found Adventure Queens. I went along on my first walk, the Malvern through hike. Hi Sally for organising that. I loved it. I thought I was going to be the slowest person there. I thought I was going to be the oldest person there. I thought everybody else was going to run it. It was just going to be too cool. Anyhow, it was women from all walks of life, and I was hooked, absolutely hooked. From there, I did my first camp out for 20 odd years. I had to buy a tent. Seriously, I didn't have to put it up. My mat deflated, I didn't get a wink of sleep, but I still came back for more. So that got me thinking. I've got this book called The Beacon's Way. I bought it, over 10 years ago, and I've always wanted to do it. It's a 10-day-ish walk through the Brecon Beacons National Park. It's 99 miles long, 8,500 metres of ascent. I spoke to my other half and said, come on, let's do it. And he went, no. So I suppose I just thought, okay, I'm never going to do it. You know, my life is not that sort of way inclined. But now I've done the camp outs, and there are women out there doing through hikes, there are women out there doing the most amazing things. I thought, well, why can't I? So I put a post on Adventure Queens, and I thought, nobody's going to come back. But they did. They actually came back and said, we'd love to come. And it was incredible. So it actually happened. So I started to organise it. We found a weekend. I did logistics, found somewhere we could start, sorted out campsites, sorted out where we could park our cars or pick people up from stations. And in the end, 7 of us set out, and it must have been in June 2018. I'd met 2 of them before on an Adventure Queen camp out, and everybody else was a stranger. The night before we set off, I don't think I slept. I just lay in my tent thinking, what am I doing? There's all these people who've turned up to do this, and I really don't know what I'm doing. But we did it, and we set off, and we went up from Holy Mountain, the Skirrid. That's where it starts, and from there we walked over the Skirrid, down into the valley, and then up onto Hatterall Hill, a long Offa's-Dyke path along the ridge, and then down into Lantony for the night where we camped. There was a pub there, so we actually sort of started off simply, I think the word would be. You know, we made sure we could actually eat, we could get water, and it just made it a little bit easier and less daunting because none of us had done a through hike before. This was all new. I mean, it was a big step. We camped out and it was an amazing night. The stars were out. It was beautiful. And the next morning we walked across 3 valleys. That's over 3 ridges. It was absolutely exhausting. The sun beat down, and we ended up having to run for the minibus, which was meeting because I completely got my times wrong. So nobody was put off. I mean, we messaged over the next weeks, we compared kit, we worked out how to get our rucksack smaller because none of us had done it before. I mean, my rucksack must have been about 15, 16 kilos, and that's a lot going up a mountain. I mean, it makes a big difference carrying weight. I mean, your shoes, your walking boots feel too small. Everything. I came back with a couple of bruised toenails, and I was determined to get it right the next time. So we all helped each other. We all spotted stuff. We recommended kit. We worked out weights, and we all got our packs a lot smaller. We met up again in August to do the second section. Again, I organised the logistics for everybody, you know, where we started, where we could leave cars, how we could get people from stations. And then we walked, and it was a 2-day one again, 2 nights camping. A little bit wilder this time, not quite so cushy. We had planned a wild camp for the Saturday night, but the heavens opened. I mean, we had torrential rain, torrential. We had thunder, we had lightning. So in the end, we camped at a campsite, and we spent the night in the pub having food and staying dry. The big message has to be from a through hike is always change your plans if the weather sort of hits. You can't wild camp up a mountain in conditions like that. And then the next day was one of the toughest days, where we hiked from Talabont up across Warmvach, up across, let me think, towards Fanibig, up over Penavan. It was long, but it was incredible. We started off in rain, and by the time we reached Penavan, the sun came out and it cleared, and it was beautiful. Went back in September, did the final stage. Our kits looked completely different to when we started, so much lighter. This time we didn't have so many options again. Water was going to be more tricky, food was going to be more tricky. We had to carry everything. So we were going off into the wilderness of the Western, the Brecon Beacons, and it is. You don't see anybody. You really don't see anybody. It's great, absolutely great. We had an injury on the first day. Second day. This was a 3-day hike. And we had an injury on the second day, so we ended up, because again we had torrential rain and high winds, we ended up decamping to a youth hostel, which turned out to be completely empty. No phone signal, no television, nothing. So it was all in a way, it was part of the adventure. We finished the next day because we'd had to stop early at Castle Carrick-Kennen instead of Bethlehem. So just a few miles short, but will I go back to finish it? No. For me, finishing at a castle was quite remarkable. It was incredible. The same people came back. We were joined on a couple of the weeks by extra women, and all of them were amazing. High points, the camaraderie, the way we all helped each other. Nobody ever led. We just went from front to back. We worked together to navigate. If somebody was a bit low, if somebody was struggling, we all worked together to help each other. That was just this wonderful feeling of walking together, experience these amazing views, that euphoria when you reach the top of the mountain, and the euphoria when we finished it. Low points, walking along a busy road in the rain when we had to detour. You don't realise how hard tarmac is until you have to walk on it after you've been walking all day. That was low, but you know what? We went to the pub that night to have our food, and it lifted our spirits. We were ready to go the next day, so no matter what the weather was going to throw at us. It was a springboard for us all as well. I mean, the women who had done it with me, none of them had done a through hike before, and now all of us have done amazing things since. I mean, one of the women, she's walked through Yosemite. 2 of them have done the Tour de Mont Blanc. Another one's completed the Hadrian's Wall walk. Another one did the Cotswolds Way in a weekend. I mean, I don't think any of us thought we could do something like this before, and that was the other byproduct of it, is that you don't realise that you can do it. You always think, oh no, I couldn't, but you can. It's actually doable for us all. As for me, what have I done since? I've done a lot with Adventure Queens. It got me started, I think, in organising more, in showing people the Brecon Beacons, which is where I live. We have done more through hikes over the winter. We've done with bunk houses. We've had weekends where we've had people coming up here. I've organised a trip to Gower where we went surfing, we went swimming, we walked. Organised another one up to Snowdonia where we went scrambling and had an amazing time. I was due to do the Pennines Way. We'll start it last year. Unfortunately, last January I dislocated my kneecap. I'm falling to bits, unfortunately. I have a dodgy knee, I've had spinal surgery, and so sometimes things don't work out. It meant I lost a lot of last year, and I got back into walking again by the autumn when I was strong enough. More Adventure Queens weekends. We went up Penavan, we've done all sorts. And then this year I was planning on doing some Snowdonia through hiking, but obviously with lockdown I don't know when that's going to happen. So I'm looking ahead. Next year I want to go to Georgia. There's a through hike we're working on for there. When this finishes, I'm going to be up to Snowdonia to do a through hike, a really challenging one. I need to keep pushing myself, I think. And then obviously loads more stuff for Adventure Queens in the Brecon Beacons, in the Gower, across South Wales, because it's so beautiful here. So if you think you would like to do a through hike, what should you do? I mean, what would my advice be? Being a sort of a novice through hiker, somebody who can only do it weekends, who has a job, who has commitments, I would say get onto Adventure Queen and read what people have got to post. Ask questions. Don't be frightened of looking like you're stupid, because nobody cares. It's such a good community. I asked loads of, looking back, very, very simple questions, and people were kind, and people suggested ideas, people suggested kit, how to cope. I'd ask away, look on Google, there's loads of sites. The big logistic, if you are doing a through hike in several stages, is the transport. It's not the walk-in. The walking's the easy bit. It's where you leave your car, it's how you get to your transport, it's how you get back to your car, it's how you get back to the train station. All of those take time. But you know what, you could sit and look at those during lockdown. You could sit and look at them in the evenings, you know, and start to research it, see what other people say about it. It really is doable. I mean, there are 1,500 long distance paths in the UK. 1,500. There might be a couple near your home. I mean, try an overnight one. Try one nearby, so if something goes wrong, you know somebody can come and get you. I really would try it. Walking from A to B to C has such a different feel to just a circular day walk. I learned a lot from it, about myself, about others, about the wilderness that there still is in the UK, and it's all on our doorstep. So I would just say go for it. Go for it, and ask on Adventure Queens. Put something out on Adventure Queens. You will not be disappointed. Meantime, we're all in this together. Stay safe, stay at home, but obviously we're all being able to get out for some daily exercise. And when it is safe to get out again, I really, really hope that we can all get out together again. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all out together, perhaps on another Adventure Queens get together. You take care.